y'all are in for a treat because today we're going to talk about content creation. We're going to talk about lead generation organically without you having to pay for ads, all the things. And I'm back with my guy Praise. Shout out to Praise for staying committed in this process. You know, as those of you that's been following along, we do this every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you're watching this on the replay, show up live one day because you can ask your questions and get those answered, as I do for Praise and as he does for y'all, right? So the dope thing about this business coaching format that we've started doing several weeks ago is that as I'm coaching Praise on his business, he's also asking questions that's going to help you in your business. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. Welcome back again, my brother. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great. And next time I'm gonna try and have on your attire. You know what I'm saying? Make sure I come in here looking all nice. But yeah, man, I'm doing great. I'm always looking forward to conversations like this because, man, it's still surreal to me, bro. I can't even act like it's not, bro. It's surreal to me that I'm even having this conversation. And yeah, bro. So that's why I'm always looking forward to it. But I'm good, man.
For
I'm
sure, for
good. So I
sure. I'm good.
appreciate you. I appreciate your sacrifice. I appreciate your commitment, my man. Yeah, man. Let's get right into
That's solid. That's solid. Yeah, this the I live in Florida starter kit. You know what I'm saying? So
it.
that's the only prerequisite. If you change your zip code, I could get you a package. You know what I'm saying? I could get you a package.
Nah, man. That's fresh, though. I like it, man.
I
That's
appreciate you. Yeah.
yes, sir.
So shout out to Palmer. Right, I'm a brand ambassador for this particular brand. Good friend of mine. He and his wife, came out with this resort wear brand, and the a lot of the proceeds go to type 1 diabetes. They have children that
Mm,
are affected, and so it's a good cause behind it, and
mm,
and it's dope gear. So I'm
yeah,
all on board for that.
most
Um,
definitely.
yeah. So I know we're gonna talk about content creation. I know we're gonna talk about lead generation. So make sure you guys put your questions in the chat. We will get to them as we talk through everything else. And yeah, let's get into it.
Yes, sir. So before we even, go there, I have just a few clarifying questions for me from the outside viewing in because today I was just really doing a lot of reflection, and one thing that I was realizing is how I can't have too many voices, right? So it's easy for YouTubers, right? I'm hearing business on this and business on that. So I was really doing some reflection, like, no, I already have somebody who's put in front of me. So I was wiring out all the voices that I was listening to, and I really just got them to a certain couple. Like, I know I got my certain people in certain areas. So I was wiring out the voices, and I wanted to get your perspective on what was it that I was doing in the purpose to profits that made me stand out, because I want to start translating that to my content. Because yesterday I was doing just some script writing and making sure it's all me, and I was just like, let me ask some of the people who've come across from me and encountered me to see what I was doing in my authentic self to make sure I replicate that when it comes to content creation.
Yeah, it's a few things. One is just your authentic spirit, right?
Yeah.
It 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 resonates in every room that you walk into. It's commanding, but yet it's not conflicting at the very
Mm,
same time. Sometimes people can come in a room and command attention, but it's conflicting in the way in which you receive it, right?
yeah.
So it's pure and it's you being you. I think right off the bat, you know, the questions that you asked at the Purpose to Profits Challenge were were full of intention and humility, right? So that also stuck out. And then to hear that you were 23, I mean, was just like mind-boggling, seriously. So then there felt like this responsibility
Mm,
as I looked at the culmination of all the other things that came along with you, and then seeing what your age currently is, me going back to where I was at that point in time in my life, and thinking of where I am today, and seeing a ready, willing, and able vessel to pour into, then I just felt like there was a prompting or even an obligation to some degree to be able to take some responsibility and helping to pour into what I believe is a phenomenal future on the way. So those are some key things that stuck out to me right off the rip.
man, that's great, and I appreciate that because I didn't want to. One thing that I was realizing, especially going into this content creation, was just realizing about how how authentic I needed to be. There was four things that I was really focusing on this morning before I got on this call, which was patience, studying, authenticity, and practice. Right. So those were the four things that I was really studying and hammering down on, because I don't want to get into, because my first 30 posts, 30,000 views, bro, in the last 90 days, right? So
Hmm.
that's, if we thinking of 30,000 people, that's a stadium filled up. So I was
Hmm.
thinking about that and putting that into context. And I'm like, okay, if I did it this way and I barely even started, I'm like, now what would happen when I'm really just in that flow zone? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just knocking these videos out. So yeah, now my next question would be is like, how, when you like, when do you know with your content when you're hitting the mark versus when you just making noise? Because a lot of my videos, right, they were good, but to me personally, I'm like, I'm just making noise right here. Like, I can discern that, right? And I know sometimes the viewer could just, they hear me saying something, but it wasn't resonating the way I feel like it should. So like, how can you tell the difference of when it's hitting the mark and when you're just making noise?
How would you define between the two?
When it's hitting the mark, it's
When,
like
when you say making noise, what does that mean to you?
making noises, like you saying something but you're not really saying something. Like, like for example, if you ask me like where you want to go, and I'm like, man, it don't matter where we go, we could go here, we could go there. It's not definite, right? So I'm just making noise right there, like, we could go here, we could go there, but I'm not telling you where I want to go. So I feel
Hmm.
like in hitting the mark, I'm getting you somewhere, and then making noise, I'm just, I'm throwing things at you, but I'm not giving you a certain A to B. So with this
Hmm.
content that I wanted to start, the shift that I wanted to make is getting you from point A to point B, and
Hmm.
actually starting everything with a hook instead
Hmm.
of just going right into it. Like for example, I was even practicing today, and I was like, just practicing with random stuff, and it was raining over here. And I was like, rain is a success tactic. And I was like, how? I'm like, because everything it touches, it changes. So if it was dry before, it's wet. If it wasn't growing the same way, rain hits it, and now it's growing the same way. I'm like, surfaces change when rain hits it. So I was like, the same thing for you. When you drop your content, when you come out, you should be doing the same thing. You should be changing everything, or changing everyone you come across when you land on it. So I was just practicing different things, making sure I was
Hmm.
just using random words that I didn't want to write it out. But that's what I feel like is the difference between hitting the mark and just making noise.
So you feel like that second example was you hitting the mark about the rain example you just gave?
I feel like it was closer, but I feel like there's just a few things that I'm like just probably missing. Like, just getting, like, I want to have the hook, and then just be like, from that hook, get you from point A to point B. Like, you probably here, I want to get you to here, but I want to know how that framework is and get better at doing that. So that's why I'm asking you, because I've seen a couple of videos where, for example, like you're talking about how you gotta be selfish to be generous, right? So I
Yep.
was never thinking that before, but you took me from me thinking I got to be generous to be selfish, right? Because I'm thinking I got to give in order to, but you like, no, you got to be selfish to be generous. So you completely reverse engineered how I was thinking about that whole concept. Like, you took me from point A to point B. So I want to replicate that in my content.
Got it. Got it. So, this driving me crazy over here. I didn't realize the name was wrong. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. What's up, everybody that joined? I'm just trying to fix this name over here. All right, cool. That I'm OCD about certain stuff. That was driving me crazy. So here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
In content creation, this is for everybody. In content creation, it's always better to be clear rather than to be clever. Yes, it's good to speak with alliteration. Yes, it's good to have words with the same prefixes and suffixes. Yes, it's good to have, phrases that go together that we call sticky statements, which is alliteration, but not at the expense of it becoming so convoluted that it's no longer clear.
Mm.
So it's sometimes we have a deep thought, right? Some of us are very creative artistically. I'm trying to make sure I didn't say artistically, and you know, which some really are on the line of being autistically at the very same time too. The most creative people typically are. But
Yeah.
but in saying that, you have to make sure that it's a clear message because the content is not for you, it's for the person that receives it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how clever it was to you if it wasn't clear to them.
Yeah.
So, yes, to your point, starting with a framework of hook, story, offer, right? You want the hook, you want to then give a story, you then want to make the offer. The offer don't always mean you selling something, but the offer is always a call to action. So, share this with a friend. If this resonated with you, comment below. Which one would you choose? Right? That's making an offer. You're still giving them a call to action. You just not necessarily, which sometimes it could be link in my bio to sign up for this. Send me a DM to book a call. XYZ, right? Comment the word below. We're going to send you whatever. So that's important and that's paramount. Okay. So that's just a solid framework to always follow. Hook, story, offer. Then after that, then you have to think about, am I stating a problem? Am I presenting the solution?
Mm.
Am I stating the problem and I'm presenting the solution? So for me, I don't like to create content that's not complete. I'm not going to bash you and tell you something you're doing wrong, but then not give you an avenue to do it right. Because then it's not helpful to me. Now I'm just every other sensationalist creating content, look, just trying to get clicks. Oh, my man went off today, right? But did
Yeah.
I help anybody as a result of going? I may go off, but did I help you as a result of it? And so I think content starts at the core of what's the goal? What's really the every time I shoot a piece of content, what's the goal?
Mm.
When I'm redoing content, it's less about did I get all my words right? It's did I get the point across?
Mm.
If you find me reshooting a piece of content, it's because I'm asking myself, did I get the point across? Dang, that could have been a little more clear. So it's not just that the word play and the word choices made it didn't come all out. I got pieces of content where I flub a word, right? So it's not if I'm reshooting it, it's not because I flubbed a word, it's because I didn't get my point across. And I think if you always start with the end in mind about what point am I making and how and what's the journey that I'm gonna take them on in 60 seconds if it's a short form. And obviously now you can go a little bit longer on short form if you want,
Yeah.
but still having that in mind as to where's my hook? Where am I picking them up from? And then by the time I get to the end, where am I dropping them off at?
That's good. That's good. I appreciate that, B. And the next question that I had was, what's something that you wish you did earlier in your content creation journey that would have saved you more time and or accelerated growth?
That's a good question. I think it's a hard one for me to answer only because so when I started out, all my content was created by a videographer,
Mm.
right? Really the first 5 years or so. And it's only been 7, right? So all the way up until probably longer than that. So about until the last 12 to 18 months, all of my content, I would batch content while being with my videographer, right? So we go in studio 2, 3, 4 hours, or back when I was doing my real estate offer, we would do stuff in the field, and I'd be out there educating all the rest of it, and then he would just clip up enough content for us to have for a couple months. I fly back to Detroit, we get together, we do the same thing, right? So we did
Yeah.
that, and then I would fly him into events and things of that nature. It wasn't until this past year or so where I just shoot everything off my phone. Now, the reason why I said that the question was difficult to answer is because the trend for many years was to have overly produced content. The trend now is less produced, less edited. People want to just see like the essence of who you are without having to dress it up a whole lot, which is why I stopped paying to go be with the videographer. I just shoot it here in my I pick my phone up, hey, yada 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 yada, right? We put some send it to my people, they put some subtitles on it, we put it out. So I don't know that I would necessarily have done anything different because I think now I'm just adjusting to the times.
Mm.
And by the
Okay.
way, I made millions of dollars doing it the way I've been doing it. So it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, probably wouldn't have said that. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So it's been working, and
Yeah.
not just for me, but for others. Uh, yeah, I'll just leave that right there for now. So
Okay.
what were you about to ask next?
No, you good because I wanna like me hearing your framework, like especially in this next transition, because I'm about to start a YouTube channel as well, right? And I want all the content to be presenting the solution. I mean, presenting the problem, giving the solution every time though, because I was realizing I was going through my content. I literally had to reverse engineer and start studying the videos that went the most viral. Started studying the things that had the most views, the most engagement, and it was the ones where I was just giving had the solution gave you the I mean had the problem presented and gave you the solution. And I want to replicate that to make sure now when I get into a longer content style platform, even though I can elaborate on points and stuff like that, I still want to have that give you the problem, pick you up from point A, give you the solution, drop you off at point B. Because I
Hmm.
was listening to some of my content and it was like I was telling you something, but I wasn't helping you with something. Right.
That's a major key right there, bro.
Right.
People don't want to be preached to unless whatever you giving them, like that's what I mean. You can't bark at people and chastise them and not give them a solution to fix their problem.
Yeah.
That may make you go viral for a day or two, right? Because we just love sensationalism as a society. But
Yeah.
after that, if you want to actually build, the whole essence of creating content is to grow a community,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm a Kevin Samuels, God rest his soul, right? If I'm a Kevin Samuels kind of guy and I'm just gonna wake up every day just to bash women, tell them they fat and they this and they that, that'll get you like a lot of attention. But are you really fulfilled at the end of the day? Because now if people love you for that, how do you switch from it? So for me, I rather grow slow and organic and making sure that I feel good about the foundation of my message and what I'm trying to create in forms of who I'm trying to attract, as opposed to just doing stuff for clicks. Because again, if they're applauding you for putting on a clown suit and tap dancing, then they're not going to appreciate you when you just show up normal.
Mm.
And I think that's what happened to a lot of creators that's grown quickly is they did a lot of the things, they pulled a lot of the levers to get them to grow quickly to then find out they pigeonholed themselves and they stuck having to do that. And that's not necessarily who they are every day, but now consequently they have to be that every day.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I was just, and as I was studying them last night, because I really want to make this pivot, and not even in a, because I know I was watching a few videos, and that's why I said I was wiring the voices out because it sounded more like quick schemes to get viral or quick schemes to do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, I don't need a quick scheme. I need a consistent format, right?
Hmm.
So I can do it 10 years from now. I'm doing the same thing. So I was just looking at how I was doing it, and majority of it was like, for example, I was like, yeah, don't let fear hold you back because fear does X, Y, and Z. And it was like, okay, you telling me that fear is holding me back, but how do I stop? Like, how do I not let fear hold
Facts,
me back? Right.
facts,
So that
facts.
was my issue that I was seeing repeat. Where in my videos, it was like I was telling you, like, okay, in order to be happy, happiness brings you joy, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. But I'm not telling you how to get there. I'm just telling you what it's doing. Right.
So, okay, now you asked me what would I do going back? This is one of the things,
Yeah.
okay? And we do this subconsciously and don't even realize it. When we first start creating content, right? Or until we become consciously aware of what I'm about to say. When we start creating content, we're oftentimes making a bunch of declarative statements.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're establishing ourselves as the authority. So we're just telling people what to do, as opposed to being vulnerable enough to take them along on the journey. The key word being vulnerable enough. So what happens is you're just trying to get your footing, putting this camera in front of you. So you're just drilling people with information. But as you start to take them on a journey with you, then they have transformation.
Mm,
So your content goes from being information to transformation.
yeah.
The more vulnerable you become at allowing them to go on a journey with you.
Mm, that's great, bro. Because you don't even understand. Like, I was at, because I'm seeing. I'm seeing engagement and not following. But I'm like, you're not following me because I'm not transforming you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was really trying to get down to the bottom of, because I was like, for example, like one of my last ones, I was talking about how, um, you got to let go of, all your limiting beliefs, and you got to let go of your betrayal, all the doubt that they happen, because that's what you're living by. But I didn't give a practical A to B. I just was
Mm-hmm.
telling you that's what was happening. So I don't want to keep repeating that and not build no buyer audience energy, not build no actually clients, and actually create leads. It was just a matter of me just saying, yeah, you're basically how they be in the church, like, you're insane, That's
Yeah.
it. I'm not telling you how to escape sin.
Exactly, bro. Right? The
Yeah.
pastor telling everybody that you sinning, you need to stop fornicating, and all the
Yeah.
rest of it. It's like I heard him, but I'm not really going to get baptized today, though. So there was I got the information, but I'm not feeling transformation.
Yes.
As
Yes.
opposed to saying, "Hey, before I put this robe on and got this podium, oh, your boy was off the chain."
Mm.
I sat in them same pew. Matter of fact, I sat in the very back row because I was too scared to come closer to the stage for the sake of being judged, be for the sake of coming in smelling like last night, for the sake of I knew there was a call, but I just wasn't quite ready to answer it. Anybody know what I'm talking about? The key word being vulnerable. It's the same. Right now they open to hear me say, but here's
Yeah.
the reality. There's only one way. There's only one way to get there. And this thing called sin, it's the impediment that keeps us from having a relationship to God. It separates us from God. Now I ain't here to ask everybody what y'all do, but I got a pretty good idea. We shacking up before marriage. We having babies. We promiscuous. We drinking. We partying. I get it. How's that working for you though? Leaving you feeling empty at the end of the day. Never enough to fulfill you. Here's the reality. If you settle for anything less than Christ, it's counterfeit.
Mm.
You see how one is, I said the same thing, but one is transformational, the other one is informational.
100%. 100%. And that's the shift that I feel like is gonna take me to the next level. Cause it was like I literally felt the barrier. It's crazy how you feel those. Like, I'm like, yo, like, there's a next level to this, and I need to get there. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just really taken up, because one of the things that, and that's crazy that you said vulnerable, because that's literally the biggest thing that I'm learning in this journey, right? So I was doing the webinar, and I'm like, I remember you were like, start with your hero story, and then you go to your zero story. And I'm like, I was sitting there just thinking about it, like, yo, this is the most vulnerable part of the webinar. Like, this the part where I let them know, like, I'm just like you, you know?
Everybody hates that part, bro. You hear me? When
Man.
when they when David and I show people how to take their broken webinars and fix them and do them the right way, that's the part. Everybody, bro. If I could tell you how many messages that I've gotten from clients, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you about to have me say this. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah.
like, I can't believe you did it. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't had you make nothing up. You did it.
Yeah.
We just gonna, let the people know, like, hey, look, yeah, I know you seen me up here and I did all this and that, but yeah, I did do some things over here too.
Yeah.
You a fraud otherwise, though. It's the same reason that when people come to our events and I'm like, hey, look, we teach from biblical principles. Why? Because that's what's made us successful. And y'all came here to find out how we've been successful. So I be a fraud, we be a fraud to try to show you how we've been successful by while eliminating that at the expense of the potential of you guys being uncomfortable because we reference in the Bible. So here's what we're gonna do. We're not going to change the content because we can't be fraudulent. But what we can do is give you your money back if the Bible offends you. Because we
Mm,
not that's not the intent. Like we're not trying to convert nobody. That's God's job. I'm not trying to get nobody saved, right? I'm not trying to do any of that. But I am going to show you these scriptures and these principles work. And by the way, almost 3 years of doing that, nobody has ever asked for their money back. Right? But I got to be upfront with you about what's about to happen with this content, though.
yeah, 1,000%.
I mean, because otherwise you're a fraud.
Yeah, yeah. And and I wanted to ask you this because this next question because I want to change my format of doing the way I was doing my content before. So, like I told you, you know me, I got the iPad there and all that stuff. So before it was more so a script instead of me telling you from really like true conviction. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference when you read a sermon. It's another thing where I was like, listen, like if one of the things I want to talk about in this next shift is that I was like, I didn't believe at one point I didn't even believe I'd be speaking to a millionaire. I didn't believe at one point I was going to be speaking to people who stepped in rooms I've dreamed of. I didn't believe it at one point until I was like, I'm going to believe until it proves me wrong. Like, I don't care what I go through, how long it got to take. I was like, I'm going to believe. And it happened quicker than I even wanted it to happen. Even with this, the building of this business happening quicker than I even thought. Like, mind you, I was in the Purpose to Profits. I literally was like, I'm gonna speak to them after this. I don't care what it was. Y'all heard me say it multiple times. I'm gonna be in the same room with y'all. I'm gonna be in the same room
You
with y'all.
did.
I'm gonna be in the same room with y'all. Cause I was like convincing myself as I was doing it. Cause a part of me was like, yo, you do you really believe you're gonna be in there? And I was like, yo, you have one life to figure it out. Right. So I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out. Like if I get in the room with them, I get in the room. If I don't, okay, it wasn't meant to be. But there was like, I was like, I'm not gonna stop until I exhaust it. Right. So that's the part of me that I want to start sharing in my content. Like, yo, I literally thought I was a mistake at one point until I came into the room and everybody was like, yo, you the answer I was just looking for. Right. So that's the shift I'm trying to really make to in my content to share with people, you know, the transformation that I'm making.
So I sense that there's people in the room right now that just heard what you said
Yeah.
and it created a curiosity gap,
Mm,
right? Because they're
yeah.
convicted by your conviction,
Yeah.
but now they got a curiosity gap, so I want to fill it. Okay. For
Yeah.
those of y'all that's wondering the other additional context that praise is referring to. So my partner David and I do this thing called a Purpose to Profits Challenge. It is what it says it is. We show you how to take your purpose and turn that into massive profits, right? We got students that's made 105,000 in their first 30 days in our program. So we show you this framework during the challenge. Praise happened to come to a challenge like 3 months ago. We neither one of us knew each other from nobody. At the challenge, he's showing out. Not mind you, praise 23, you probably didn't get that from his conversation, but when he told us that on day one, and I'm thinking of where I was at 23 and I'm watching him and his behavior and his consistency, he blowing everybody out of the water at the challenge. So at the end of the challenge, before we ended, I was talking with the team like, who been showing out all week, right? And it was a emphatic praise. So we ended up, unbeknownst to him, gifting praise a 1 year subscription in my believers in business community. Okay, that is what it also says it is. It's a community for believers in business. Okay, we do business coaching and then we teach on 5 pillars: faith, fitness, finance, freedom, and family. Okay, so it's for personal development and spiritual maturation for business owners who happen to be believers. Then I get another nudge and I'm like, I do these lives every Thursday, which are business coaching lives on YouTube, 2 p.m. Eastern, which y'all are part of right now. And I thought, I think it'd be pretty dope, right? As opposed to me just coming with content and y'all putting y'all questions in the chat, that Praise, who was not shy about wanting more of my time, could come and get live coaching for his business on a weekly basis. And for those of y'all that's tapping in, and for the game I'm giving him applies for you as y'all are seeing that here today. While y'all can still ask y'all questions in the chat. And so I just want to show y'all what Praise just articulated from a timeline perspective. In 90 days, his life has changed drastically by just taking faith steps and putting himself in the right room in the right environment. I ain't never done this before, just so you know, right? And so I just felt like there was a curiosity gap that I wanted to at least fill in those holes so that people could understand like how you got here, bro. Like
Yeah,
this is, and I'm not breaking my arm, pat myself on the back. This is nothing short of a miracle, though.
100%,
We've
1000%.
helped hundreds of people through the Purpose to Profits Challenge, and for this to be the culmination of the start of you coming there is crazy. And I don't take credit for that. I give God all the credit, and I'm just being obedient to the promptings that I've been receiving.
I 1000% agree. This is nothing short of a miracle, bro. Like, and that's why there's so much preparation coming to it, right? I was as I was doing the webinar, right? I was like, and I was telling like, this is for these type of people. And then I was like, this is if it you this doesn't work for this type of people. Well, it works for this type of people. It doesn't work for these type of people. And what I listed in that one, I was like, people who want a microwave miracle, who not willing to put in the work. This
Hmm.
wasn't a microwave. Like I didn't just hop in the Purpose to Profits, didn't do nothing, then expected God to show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I
Yeah.
heard something you said, and you were like, pray like it depends on God, work like it depends on you. And I heard
Facts.
you say that, and I was like, that's the key right there. For every success thing, that's what you're supposed to do. So I just ran with that, and I never looked back. And I remember I told you the story about how I said I was going to talk to a millionaire a year ago, right? Came here, I'm sitting in the miracle now, bro. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? So that's why
Yeah.
there's so much preparation and conviction coming here because at a point in my life, I didn't feel like I deserved any of this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
none of this felt deserved. You know what I'm saying? So man, that's why like now with this content shift, I feel like with the gifts the Lord gave me, with the character the Lord gave me, the personality, the enthusiasm, that's the shift I need to tap into, right?
Yeah.
It was more so of a, let me gently pat you on the back. Now it's like, now let me step in the room and really show you like what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I feel
Yeah.
like the shift that I had to really make. So I wanted to come to you about this content, but me being authentically and unapologetically me, because that's what I
Yeah.
showed you. And that's why through God's grace, I'm sitting here. So
Facts. Facts.
yeah.
No, all true. And to answer your question, conviction based content outperforms anything else.
Mm,
So it's nothing wrong with the iPad for those of y'all that's out there and using a teleprompter. It's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's got to be profound though. If you're gonna use a script, whatever you say, the whole reason of using the script is because it's so profound that you got to remember word for word what it's supposed to say,
yeah.
right? If it's not gonna be that, then forget the script and let it be conviction based content. Because here's the reality: you are the content. This is why we should only talk about things that we proficient at because you are the content. That's
Mm,
what makes the content as rich as it is or it's not. If if you regurgitating something that you had to write down that you heard somebody else say, it's never going to come off as convicting as something that you said. So that's why it's no point in reaching in your content. Stay in your zone of genius and just keep dialing that in, right? Getting better at that. Let me know in the chat, y'all, if y'all feeling what I'm saying right now. Like you want to stay in your zone of genius so that it oozes out of you without a bunch of secondary thought. Now, I'm
mm,
not saying that if I got a long form YouTube that I need to create, that I don't have an outline for it, right? But it's more so I know I could go, right? The
yeah.
outline is there because I'm trying to make sure that I'm allowing the audience to digest it in certain sizable chunks. Because if I just go from here to here or from here to here, oh, I can go for
Right.
hours,
Yeah.
right? But that don't mean that I'm necessarily giving it to them in a way in which they can digest it best.
Mm,
So I may put an outline together for a long form video so that I'm hitting the points in the order by which I want them to digest the material.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
So there's nothing wrong with that. I personally feel like the more that you show what you showed us in the challenge, that made
Mm.
us say, ain't no way you're 23. Go do that. Because just the same way that we said, ain't no way he 23, everybody that starts to come in in contact with your in contact with your content will put in the comments, ain't no way he 23.
Mm. Bet.
And by the way, that would also become the most controversial aspect of your content, which means it's working. When
Mm.
they start sending to people, they be like, man, he 23. What do you know? That's when you got him. He 23. What do you see? A lot of the time, we take those negative things as being negative when we have to understand that when you're gifted in such a way, the adversaries of your gift will typically say something negative towards it because they're jealous of your gift.
Mm.
So, as an example, many people like, I just don't know what my gifts are. Really? Okay. What were the things you were teased most about as a child?
Mm.
When your family, when you come around your family, and they like, Jen always she thinks she's funnier than everybody. So you have the gift to cause humor in environments that you go into, right? Or
That's
you know,
good.
or it's like he talk. Why you always talking white? Talking white? What you mean? Oh, he has the ability to articulate himself in a way. He speaks the King's English really well. So he's
Mm.
got a gift of communication, but because you don't have that same gift, you try to talk negatively about it. He always preaching. Oh, you speak with a certain level of conviction. When other people talk, they're not saying nothing. But every time you talk, it seems as if you're saying something. Not by the way, because it's your gift and and you understand that God gave it to you, then yeah, I can't take credit for that. But I'm consciously aware of it though, and I'm gonna embrace that though.
Yeah.
See, Shelly just said my teachers always told me I talk too much. That's
Yeah.
exactly my point. And guess what she do? Host shows, radio, all that's what she do for a living now. But her teachers told her that she taught. They people don't understand your gift, nor should they. But we got to stop always looking at criticism as a negative thing.
Mm.
Sometimes it's the most positive things that we could ever be aware of.
My goodness.
If we
Boy.
can stop taking everything as an attack and synthesize what's being said, we control the narrative. Nobody else. Oh, so that was really a compliment. They just don't have the capacity to give me a compliment, so that's why they just said something negatively.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Jay say I ask too many questions. Jay is probably a great podcaster, very inquisitive, very curious. People are very curious, make a lot of money. Why? Because they pride don't get in the way. They just ask all the questions, good, bad, or indifferent.
when
Right?
I tell you you
So when
ripping
I
off
see
scales
stuff,
right
bro,
now.
my mind works differently. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I don't look at stuff for how people like that's why I'm always praying for wisdom and discernment. Why? Because wisdom is more valuable than rubies and gold.
Come on. Come on. Man, you ripping off scales right now.
Bro, I'm just trying to
Man,
tell you, man.
I'm trying to look because, bro, when I tell you, I was sitting up, bro. I was up to like 3, 4 in the morning, bro. Real talk. Like making sure, like, I need to do this the right way. I don't want to, like you said, like, I don't want to get there because I, I was studying scripture, I was studying other people, and I'm like, they get there so quickly just to fall even faster, right?
Mhm.
And I don't want to make that same mistake ever. Like, I don't want to do that at all or even walk that way. I was sitting down in my break room the other day at work, and I was thinking about this transition that I'm even making to becoming a full time entrepreneur, and I was just getting an epiphany that I have success on speed dial,
Hmm.
like true speed dial. And I feel like I don't know if you said it or someone else said it, but you were talking about how, I think you said it in the Purpose to Profits, like our lack of awareness causes us to have a lack of abundance because you don't even know what's
Facts.
there, right? So I remember you saying that, and I was just really chewing on that, and I was like, okay, like my lack of awareness is causing my lack of abundance, so I need to get more aware in these areas to be get more abundant in every other one. So I was just thinking
Hmm.
about how when I make this shift in my content, I was like, the amount of authenticity, conviction, uh, confidence that I'm about to have, right? And you know what majority of it is that I was thinking about that's so underlined. This is why I think it's so important to go back and rewatch, because I'm looking at this content like, yo, like I don't even sound like this. Like some of the content I'm genuinely like, yo, I don't even sound like this. Like for real. Like I'm being so 100. Like I'm
I
going through the
I know you are, and I'm laughing because not enough people have honest conversations with themselves, bro. I'm my
bro.
biggest critic. People be like, I don't really like to listen to myself. I don't really like to like watch myself. I'm like, is you crazy? You better. You know what I'm saying? Because if you leave it up to them to tell you what's wrong with you, you in trouble. I'm gonna go find
Yeah,
out what's wrong with me. I'm gonna be consciously aware before you got to tell me anything that I'm gonna go investigate and inspect what's wrong with me.
yeah. 100%. So I had to go back to that drawing board, man, because I think that's the most important place to be, right? We try to figure out all these systems. Just like go back to the drawing board, bro. So I went back to the drawing board and I'm watching them. I'm looking at the videos where I'm a little authentic or I'm a little more authentic or I'm not authentic. And I'm just like, all right, scratch all of this. Like that's why I was like, yo, do you use scripts? Because I really believe me trying to read that instead of me trying to be me was stopping me from being me. So I was like, I don't want to go that route anymore because it was cool. Like there, unless I have a quote that I must say, then I'll use that. But in general aspect, right, it looked good, don't get me wrong. But authenticity wise, these things that are just flowing, it's just a gift. I don't have to think twice as soon as
Hmm.
I open my mouth. It's just happening, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, I want to stay in that lane no matter the content that I'm creating. Because I was going back and watching, and the most authentic video when I'm introducing myself on Why I Built Praise Academy, I got the most views and stuff. Because why? I was being myself, right? So I was like, I don't want to I seen myself trying to be formed by a format that wasn't even there, right? I
Hmm.
was trying to be some that I wasn't, and nobody even told me to do that. I'm just trying to be like, I don't want to step on nobody's toes. Well, you got one life to step on toes, so you either step on them or not, right? And I
Hmm.
was like, I don't want to make that mistake because I watch your content, bro. You're talking to me. I feel like you're punching me as you're talking. Like, yo, what are you finna do with your life, right? So every time I hear you speak, it's a gut punch. Like, yo, change or you gonna remain the same for wherever you at. Because I was watching one of our old live coaching calls as you were saying for the webinar, and you were like, okay, after you done repitch them and be like, so you got two choices. You can either go back to what you was doing, right? And when you saying something like that, you like, dang, like what was I doing? Now you're so I'm thinking about how straightforward you've been, even till right now. I'm looking at all your content. I'm going back to watch all your content, and I'm like, okay, like he's not letting up in the authenticity and what it is. So I was like, I want to adopt that now, so I don't get 1,000 posts in, and now I got to create a new message. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm a
Yeah,
whole different person. So
that's good, bro.
yeah, bro.
Man, put some fire in the chat for those that's here. Like, bro, you cooking. You made me think of something. This is another reason why I wanted to do this format with you because I knew you would make me think of stuff that I'd have forgot about, and I just forgot about it. Just no, but what it was you were talking about the conviction in it, the gut punching, and all the rest of it, right?
Yeah,
This is another major key when you creating content. Not only am I thinking about the problem solution piece, but I'm also thinking about how I want them to feel as a result of what I say.
mm,
The reason you feel what you feel is because that's my intention.
yeah.
Bro, I just want to sit that there for a second, bro. The reason you feel what you feel as a result of what I say is intentional. I'm so glad you said that. Why? Because here's what I know. What's the number one reason why people buy anything?
Because they feel like it.
Because they feel like it.
Man,
So whatever I'm selling right now on this video, if I'm selling that whatever you're not changing, you choosing. If I'm selling, you either gonna risk your way to wealth or gamble your way to poverty. Whatever I'm selling in this video, I don't buy from Christian business owners. I buy from good business owners. If you happen to be a Christian, praise God, hallelujah. We got to stop running around with these half-baked businesses and throwing Jesus glitter on them and then getting mad at the marketplace because they don't want to participate.
yeah,
God bless the decency and order. Like I just shot this video yesterday. That's why I can remember it. It's coming out, right? I want you to feel something as a regard as a result of what I'm saying.
yeah,
So I think we need to consider that, right? When we thinking about creating content, because to your point, you could script something out that's clever, but if they don't feel what I need them to feel as a result of it, then they're not going to do anything as a result of it. I'm not
fact.
creating content for people to give me attaboys every day. I'm creating it because I want them to do something about it. So I need to evoke a feeling in them if I want them to take action as a result of what I said.
1,000%, bro. 1,000%. And that's when, like I said, that's why I'm more grateful for this coaching call because it the amount of when you were talking about you got to be selfish to be generous, right? And then I'm going back and looking at all your content. I'm like, yo, that like I'm seeing the selfishness in even how you're making your content, bro. Like I'm like, yo, he's like, and there's so many different elements to it, but I'm seeing the gut punches, I'm seeing the conviction, I'm seeing the intentionality, and I was like, okay, this is exactly the shift I need to make. This is exactly the shift I need to make because you know what's funny is like, and I want everybody to hear me when I say this. And I was a victim. That's why I'm talking about this shift. I know I'm so gifted that I'm already thinking about how people are going to be offended by my giftings.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm hesitating, like, I don't know if I want to show them all that when that's exactly what I should be doing. Like that's exactly what I should be doing. But I was like, yo, like me being 23, blowing them out the water. I don't want to, blow them out the water, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
was where I was really sitting down with myself last night. Like, okay, like let's go because I was about to type up a few video scripts, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna just say it with straight conviction. Pick you up from point A, drop you off at point B. It's simple. Cause I'm like, there's no other way I need to, like you said, I want you to feel a certain way. Like as I talk to you, I want you to feel convicted.
Mm-hmm.
I know I want you to feel convicted, like, dang, I should change, or man, like I can't live the same way. The amount of times I didn't have confidence, as soon as I started grasping the concept of confidence, I'm sitting in front of you.
Mm.
I stopped thinking about, I stopped using my imagination the wrong way. Because I remember you said worry is the misuse of your imagination. That's literally what
Right.
I stopped doing. I
Facts.
stopped doing that. So I was like, I'm
Facts.
gonna stop doing that so I can be. I'm talking to someone I never even dreamed of speaking about. Bro, I didn't know you, right? We didn't know each other. We didn't know each other. Didn't know where you came from. I just said follow. You had a system in place. For those who have a business, he had a
By
system in
by
place.
by by the way, I did so David and I we met with Purpose to Profits Accelerator Group today.
Yeah,
And I showed them the DM hack because I just used it again yesterday, right? And I gave them a whole narrative which I won't go into. But for those, and it's a couple of y'all that's on here right now. The reason why praise even came to the Purpose to Profits challenge was because that same message I told y'all that y'all need to send everybody on your following is the same message I sent praise. And he'll tell you, had I not sent that message, he probably wouldn't have never made it to the challenge. And look where he at 90 days later as a result of me sending that message.
of a message, y'all. He didn't sell me nothing. Nothing. Man, I'm telling you, it was from that message. And mind you, that message, it's crazy how it really is crazy how God worked. But that message cultivated confidence. You was just doing that out of a system. I was thinking, I'm like, what he see? Like, what is he asking me about that I don't know about? Like, I'm like, maybe I have something to offer. right? So now I'm thinking like, all right, I gotta lock in. Like as soon as you sent that, I was like, I gotta lock in. I have to. Like you, and mind you, I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was like, I gotta lock in. I got like, and then the challenge happened. I'm like, now I can, and that's where I remember you was talking about duality, right? And you were like, what happens in the dark comes to the light. Yo, that was literally what I was in. How I was
Yeah.
studying, working on my articulation, making sure I'm prepared, having all these questions written out. So by the time I came into the challenge, I just felt like I was talking to literally the people I needed to be speaking to. I'm like, finally, someone who can talk my language and better. So that's when it came to the light because I was working on that. I was doing that all behind the scenes. That's why when you came there, like, yo, you 23 there. I'm like, yeah, bro, this is what I'm doing because I it's either you risk your way to what is it? You gamble your way to wealth or risk your way to poverty or
You
whatever,
risk you
risk your
risk
way to
your
way to wealth.
you risk your way to wealth, or you gamble your way to poverty.
Yeah, bro. So as soon as that happened, I risked it. I was like, yo, I'm gonna risk it all for them. I don't care if I don't get nothing out of it. I just need to know I risked it. Right.
Mm.
And that's how I want to start approaching my content. Like, yo, I don't even care what happens. I just need to know I risked it all trying to give y'all my everything and every single
Facts.
piece of form or content that I give out. Because I
Facts.
felt like, in other words, I was holding on to something when being a servant is giving everything, serving in every way possible to the highest extent. Right. And I was like, I need to serve even more with my content by giving them everything that God gave me, which is this
Mm.
personality, this temperament, this gift, this calling, all of that, bro. So I was just sitting down last night, like going, getting downloads, bro, like downloads. And I just wanted to come here today to get more clarification on it because I was like, yo, there's a shift that I needed to make. And it was you giving me the blueprint. I need to use my authentic voice. That's the moneymaker right there.
Yeah, bro.
That's the
Yeah,
moneymaker
bro.
right there.
So I'm gonna give you this since we here, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't even shared this yet within. We shared it with our inner circle clients, but I ain't shared this nowhere publicly. And I'm gonna do a training on this inside a P2P accelerator with all our mastermind students. But there's these certain groups of people that exist in the world, and especially those that view our content. Okay, the one group is the harmonizers. Okay, these are people who want to feel things. So they would be equivalent to whales, how I teach, right? You know, I teach shark, whale, dolphin, urchin, right? These would be
Yeah.
like your whales. These are emotional, empathetic people. They make up 20, about 25% of the population.
Mm.
Then you have rebels, which would be like your dolphins. They make up like 30 to 35%. Then you have your intellectuals, right? They make up about like 10, 15, about 15%. And then you have your promoters, they make up like 10%. So there's like some small little one, but the biggest groups are your rebels and your harmonizers. So what does that mean? When you create content and you don't have like and watch, when I tell you this and you go back and look, you will start seeing what I'm talking about. The content that has like side by side images and on one they burning something and the other one they burning something else and they kind of racing one another. You ever see those
Yeah.
like side by right? Or it
Yeah.
may be somebody that's telling a story and they're like using objects in front of them to illustrate what the story is. Them things get tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of views. So rebels are like dolphins in the sense of that they're stimulated by playfulness, moving. They're stimulated by aesthetic and sound and movement and all the rest of it, which is why the more entertaining, for whatever we call entertaining anymore, content typically gets the most views
Mm.
because you're catering to the largest, one of the largest, if not the largest segment of viewers on social media.
Yeah.
Then what else does well? The man that's sitting in the car crying about being a recent widow, he lost his wife. Don't nobody know my man from nobody. But those videos have millions of views. Well, guy just sitting in his car crying. Why? Because it speaks to the harmonizers, which is like 25% of the demographic that's watching stuff online.
Yeah.
So for people in the education space, right? If we're constantly just on message, we have to understand that unless we pulling those levers with the rebels and the harmonizers, then your video's not gonna get a lot of reach. Now that don't mean they're not effective. It just means that they're not gonna get a lot of reach because you're not pulling the levers for the two largest demographics.
Mm.
If you go to my page right now and look at the ones where I'm saying something controversial, that's speaking to the rebels, so those videos get more reach. If I'm telling a story about something empathetic or like super vulnerable, those videos, like I'm not confused. So going back to an earlier question you asked about how do you know when it like landed and when it
It marked.
didn't,
Yeah.
that's how you know from knowing.
Mm.
By the way, I paid $21,000 last year to be in this program to learn what I just told you. You're not going to get away from investing in yourself if you really want to know what's going on out here. So you could do everything blindly or you're going to invest to learn. We don't say invest in yourself because we sell courses and programs. We say it because we do it. You know how many people create content every single day don't know what I just told you? And they're chasing virality every day. I know why my stuff ain't viral.
Mm.
Since I told you that, you just start paying attention of what goes viral. It's going to either be things that fall in the lane of rebels or things that fall in the lane of harmonizers.
Man, I appreciate you, B. No cap. For real. Like, I appreciate you, B.
Bro, you
And
wonder why when you scrolling and you see some guy with his belly out and he got on a robe and a crown, it's like, why is people looking at this?
yeah.
Because the rebels, they find that to be entertaining.
Mm.
And so so what happens is the social media platform will push out your content initially to say like 10 people. If a certain percentage of those people watch it beyond 15 to 30 seconds, then they push it out to 100 people. They keep increasing it by 10 to 20x until a point where you get out into the stratosphere of virality. That's the way it go. So every piece of content you make, if you speak into the rebels and the harmonizers predominantly, then that first group of 10 that see your posts, probably 6 to 7 of them are going to be intrigued by it. If it's informative, which is only 15% of the population, then a very small segment identifies with your content. But if you in the business of selling things, then you likely to just be focused on appealing to those people. But you also need to understand, then Instagram was like, well, only 2, 3 people really was digging that. We're not about to put, because the social media platform goal is to keep people on the platform. Your goal as the educator or the coach or the consultant is to get them off the platforms. You can sell them something,
Mm.
right? Collect their name, email, address, all the rest of it, so you can talk to them off the platform. So if you putting stuff on the platform that the algorithm has deemed only appeals to a small select few, then why would they push that out to all the rest of these people thinking that it's not going to perform? Their goal is to keep people on their platform. So if they just if for whatever reason, at the risk of boredom, they're not gonna push your stuff out because they like, this person may just close out the platform and go on TikTok.
Yeah.
If I'm constantly putting stuff in front of them that they don't necessarily want to see. So when you understand this, bro, it suppresses the. Now you can let the emotions get in and still, even objectively knowing that there's days where I'm like, man, you know, but that's my emotion talking. Objectively, I know why it is. So it's like either you're gonna go do that or you just know that this is what it is based off of what you're doing.
Yeah. 100%. And my last thing, would you be able to just give me a, practical example of what we were talking about, how you presenting the problem and you present the solution. Just give me like a, because I'm really just gonna use that framework and go run, bro. Because I just
Okay.
want to hear.
I give you a great example. Okay. By the
Yeah.
way, chat, did y'all get what I just said? Did y'all get what I just said? I just want to make sure y'all caught what I just said.
Because that was
Content is not a mystery, y'all. I'm telling you, I've paid to be in the right rooms. I know what it is. I've learned from people that get billions of views monthly. I know what it is.
insane.
All right. So I give you an example. And I just shot this video amongst four 2 days ago. Thought it was yesterday, but it was 2 days ago. So I've been getting this like frustration with Christian businesses. Okay. And so I made a video and I started it just like this. Okay. This was the hook. Christian business owners. That's the hook. Why? Because if I'm not a Christian, I'm leaned in because I want to hear what he about to say about the Christians. And if I am a Christian, I'm leaned in because I want to hear what he about to say about the. And Christian in and of itself is already controversial enough to where it's going to garner the attention of the believer and the non-believer. So that was the hook. Christian business owners. I'm not buying from you because you are a Christian business. I'm buying from you because you are a good business.
Mm.
We got to stop running around with these half-baked businesses, throwing Jesus glitter on it, and thinking that we supposed to then go out and people want to do business with us. We got to knock it off. God blesses decency and order. Proverbs 15:22 says that many plans fail because of lack of counsel, but with multiple advisors, they succeed. When the last time you invested in your business to make it better? The only time you believe in sowing and reaping is when you paying tithes and offering. And you run around thinking that people are supposed to buy from you because you're a believer. Now, by the way, I'm a believer in business, but I also understand that I have to first be great at business and then be a believer in business. And then we can allow people, because of our excellence in the marketplace, to be drawn to us to where we could then show them how we built our businesses on God's word, foundation, and principles. We got to do better. That's a post, by the way. That was, and it was probably said even better 2 days ago when I recorded it as I felt it. But think about the whole conversation of today. You've been talking about scripts. There's a script in my mind to that, what I just told you,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure at the end of it, it'll probably, the call to action will be either to join our believers in business community, link in bio, or to be come to our purpose to profits challenge to help fix your business. But that's the post. The hook, what's gonna stop them in their tracks? Christian business owners. And then I got a secondary hook, just in case that didn't get them, by saying I'm not buying from you because I don't buy from Christian businesses. I buy from good businesses.
Mm.
So I got two hooks, just in case the first one didn't stop them. The second one to definitely get them. And then I rag on them because it's true. Y'all put these half-baked businesses together and then throw Jesus glitter on it and get mad because nobody buying nothing from you. You charging these cheap prices not because you're doing the Lord's work, is because we attract who we become. You a cheap person, so you got cheap prices.
Mm.
I want them to feel something behind what I'm saying. That's exactly what you said earlier is exactly my point. I want them to feel something behind that because they should. It's true. I don't say things to be offensive. I say things that may be taken offensively. It's two totally different things. Why? Because I want us to be better. That's the whole reason why David and I started Purpose to Profits, because we want more believers to be better at business. We got to stop defaulting into being life coaches again. Like I keep going back to that. It's just like, oh, I'm a Christian, so I'm gonna be a life coach. Like, why though? Says who? What nominated you for that? Because John Maxwell is heavily like, I don't understand. I don't get that. What have you done, and what do you help people do to qualify you as a life coach? Because you know some scriptures. Like, and oh, that's another thing I said in the video. I forgot that part. I was like, we got to be really clear about when people pay us, what is the measured payoff that they get?
Yeah.
Taking them to church with you on Sunday is not the thing they paid you for. Yeah, I said that in the video, or maybe that was another. That I shot 4 videos that day. That could have been the second one, but it's true. When we lack the skill in the marketplace, then we hang our hat on being Christian, and then every client of ours, we trying to disciple them and get them to church with. No, you need to be giving them what they paid you for first. We got to stop hiding behind God in the marketplace. No, you need to be great at business first and be a believer.
Mm.
Don't be dragging God into your mess. You know what I'm saying? The Lord told me, no, he didn't tell you that. You know what I'm saying? No, you false advertising on the Lord. You know what I mean? We got to stop that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I know. They could come for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm abundantly clear about this one. They could come. I'm here.
Hey, B, you see where I'm sitting. So
Yeah, bro, I want us to be better. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I'm not throwing rocks like, you know, man, like I told, I'm my biggest critic. You know what I mean? And I've had my humbling experience from him. Where we were so sales focused many years ago, the company culture was all off, and I wasn't in the right place that I need to have been in, and we was making a ton of money, but it was more sales focused and less fulfillment focused.
Mm.
Now, bro, if you want to see me blow a gasket, it's if we don't have the same level of intensity, if not more, after people pay us as they do before they as we do before they pay us, it's a problem, bro.
Mm.
It's a problem. And the team know it. We do not play on board all of that. Like it, people better they better have as stellar of an. It's similar to like you go to the hotel, you pay a bankroll for the room. The room better be dope when I get there.
Facts.
The service better be phenomenal when after I didn't swipe my card. Right?
Yeah.
Same is true in your business. The 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 best marketing is great fulfillment. I've got clients that have paid me 3, 4, 5 years in our mastermind. Why? Great. The best marketing is great fulfillment. Take care of your people. Don't treat them like, when you hot and heavy with a chick and then it's over with and you kind of like, oh man, you know. Right?
Yeah.
No, you got to keep that energy. That same energy when you was chasing her. Now that you didn't got, you can't act like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just saying, you know, you got to talk to people how they understand sometimes.
Hey, I understand,
They
B. I
keep that
understand.
energy. You know
Hey,
what I'm saying?
facts.
Seriously. But that's
Facts.
also why we're very selective about who we work with. Because if I got to come to work and be like, damn, I got to talk to them today, it ain't enough money you could pay me for that, bro.
Mm.
We really won't take everybody as a client for that very reason. I'm not coming to work, I'm be held hostage in my own business over some money. Is you crack? You can't pay me enough for me not to like you and have to deal with you for 6 months or a year.
Crazy.
I've done it. That's how I know better. That's horrible. That money wear off so fast, you'd be like, man, I got to talk to them today. Don't do it.
Man.
Your culture is the most important thing, bro, and you attract who you become. So every time you put a message out on the internet, you're attracting somebody as a result of who you become and what you said in that message.
Mm.
And if you let that be the foundation by which you build your content creation on, you're going to be all right. But if you do stuff to chase trends, just know the type of people you will have chasing you.
It's good, B. Hey.
I know when people go to my page, they be like, "My man, he always talking heavy,
Yeah. Hey, you always talking heavy for sure.
always talking heavy,
Always.
bro." Because you know
Always.
why? Because I wouldn't even be on social media wasting my time if I'm not going to talk about what I think is important.
Facts.
Do you think bro? The most inconvenient thing is for me to be out somewhere and be like, "Oh, I need to record something." I don't want to record. I'm chilling with my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we kicking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the environment dope. But then I got to be like, oh, I got to show this to these people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's part of the job description. Now I get that, but I'm just telling you, if there was no job description attached to it, I wouldn't be doing that. The same way I wasn't doing it before 2018. Wasn't on social media just showing people my life. But that's goofy. What you need
Yeah.
to know my life for? You ain't here. But now I have to show people both sides where they be like, oh, B really don't just work all day. He do stuff to enjoy himself. Like, yeah, me and my wife be out here moving around a little bit. So I
Yeah.
got to show them because everybody need to feel like they know you, right?
Facts.
So, so you got to do both sides. That's the other part.
Hey man.
Um, you know,
You Mike Tyson, bro. I swear. Mike Tyson, bro. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Every single word, dog, because content about to be mind blowing from here on out, bro.
yeah,
Authentically me, unapologetic. So I appreciate you, big dog,
yeah.
for
Do
real.
your thing. Make them ask. Is he really 23? Like that's the good. Like that's what they need to be asking. Like, is he really? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to say that you ain't lived enough life yet. That's when you know you doing it right.
Yeah.
It's easy to say you ain't lived it. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody got any questions, chat, before we get out of here? What's up, Ryan? Dr. D, Jada, hello.
Yeah. Look at my
Carlos.
people. Yeah, my people's on here. Yes, sir. Don't wait. Do it as soon as you feel something to say.
Shelly's.
Yeah.
I'll put that on the screen.
Yeah. Most definitely.
I love when you said make sure you record when you got the conviction. Don't wait to do it as soon as you fit. Yes, Shelly, this is so important. That conviction based content, man. And I know this again. So I'm always talking from firsthand experience, bro. I done this time and time again where I be like, oh, the aesthetic ain't great right
Oh,
now. The
my God.
lighting ain't right. And
Yeah.
then I end up not shooting it. And then later on, I'm like, okay, nah, the setting is dope. I'm about to go ahead and shoot it. And then it's like, that don't sound like what I thought. You know what I'm saying? It don't come out the
Facts.
same. The moment, the emotion of it has changed,
Yeah.
right? The
100%.
emotion of it has changed. The moment is left. So now it's like, dang, yeah, I ain't putting that out because it don't feel the same now. Now I feel heady. It don't feel hearty.
Yeah. Yeah. And how video channel manager said, how do we follow Praise's journey? Follow me at Praise Academy _ all platforms. You're gonna see the journey. I'm gonna drop a video saying right here, talking about you better stop holding back. Okay. I'm gonna make a video right here. So yeah, that's how you gonna follow my journey. But yeah, B, this was fire, dog.
Yeah, I appreciate all the feedback too from everybody. I'm glad
Yes.
y'all were fed. Yeah, because I mean, look, just so y'all know, I think this the best part about it. Praise and I get on here from week to week. I have no idea what this brilliant mind is gonna ask me. So to y'all benefit, if y'all just show up, like, but I do know that whatever he's asking me is always gonna be practical, tangible, uh, easily applied, right? So that's to y'all benefit. But I literally have no idea, which is great for me because it forces me to dig in the archives. Like I forgot all about that $21,000 course, and I ain't never said that publicly anywhere. We taught it in our inner circle um, last year, but anywho, yeah, that's good stuff, bro. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
if y'all just go and apply one thing I said, look out, look out. Treat anything like it's the most important thing because anything can change everything.
That's on my page, man. That's on my page. Yes, sir. Man, this
Yeah.
was fire.
Chanel said when you wait until you have the setup and feel like a tech. That's exactly it, Chanel. That's exactly it. You just got to shoot it while you feel it.
Yes, sir.
You got to shoot it while you feel it. Now,
Yes,
look,
sir.
by the way, you ain't going to, by the way, if you're a business owner, you ain't going to always feel like it.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a part of your job. So you got to figure it out. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
days where you ain't going to feel nothing. You don't feel like talking to nobody. You ain't but you got to stay consistent in post.
Yeah. Shelly asked, "Are you able to tell if something is holding a person back, like discern it easily? Easily. People can act. You can only act for so long. I feel like it's
Mhm.
easily discernible. Like if B, for example, was to get on here and he's sitting straight up and he's like, so when you're doing content, you're gonna be like, come on, bro. Like you can tell body language is everything, man. How you
Mhm.
like when you feel something, your whole body is convinced.
Mm.
Your whole body, you from head to toe. There's nothing in you that isn't convinced because that's what you're convicted about. So you can tell it is right there in front of you. For example, me, like there's some videos where I was doing it, and the people who know me know that I wasn't fully convinced making that video. They know
Mm.
that,
Mm.
right? So that if they could discern that, then the people who watch it like, they're like, I've just seen people who were more convicted, who were every part of their being was like, yo, you better do this or else. So it's
Mm.
easily to discern, man. Like we in a copycat generation, bro.
So
Copycat.
I would push against that just a little. I agree with you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
but then I
push
would
against
swing. But
police.
then I would swing it a little bit further to say it's easy for a wise person to discern
Mm, that's good.
because the people that's winning on social media, oh, they got everything into what they saying. Body, emotions, they talking the loudest. They the ones that's going viral every day.
Yeah,
But that don't mean that they convicted about what they saying though. Right? So that's why I say I agree with you. I just think it take a wise person to discern when it's true conviction and when it's, the circus.
man. That's such. Yeah, bro. That's why you the mentor. This is why you the mentor, B. Yeah, man.
Hey man,
Hey,
hey look, in fairness, I just got an 18-year jump on you. That's all.
hey. Yeah,
Man,
bro.
I've been around the block a little bit,
Hey, fire, dog.
been around the block a
You
little
came
bit.
in here with uppercuts, body shots, boy. I appreciate you, big
You
dog.
know what's funny? When we got on today and I heard the topic was content creation, I really was like, you know. But by the way, we pray before every one of these start too. So I just trust him. I'm like, just because I don't feel like talking about content creation, this what praise came up with, and we asked him to speak through us. So here we are.
Yeah. Because B, you gotta understand, right? So I was thinking about this earlier because look, I got 18 extra minutes with you. I'm using every second. I was thinking about how success is so simple. So to you, it's second nature, right? We are trying to get to where you at or to where all these other people at. And I was using an example of like basketball players, for example, like Kobe, Steph Curry, all of them. They're doing the same thing every other basketball player is doing. So they probably looking at them like, yo, what are they doing that I'm not? So that's how I came
Mm,
into here with the content creation. Cause I'm like, yo, you're doing it to a point. Every time you talk, I'm getting dropped off and it's 5-star. So I need to be doing the same thing. So when I came to you with content creation, I'm like, Lord, and that's the only thing that was on my heart because I was like, I'm about to get into being really a full-time content creator. I don't need to go in there with some flimsy frameworks with when I have the person who got put in front of me to ask, right?
mm,
Instead of me being like, oh, I'll figure it out. Or I'll go through trial and error. Remember in the last call, I was telling us like you got to discern when God is trying to save you from certain experiences, bro. Right? So this was one of them for me. Like, yo, if I don't ask you, I'm gonna go down a season of you should have never experienced that. They're gonna get mad at God for experiencing something He never wanted you to experience
mm,
because God ain't tell you to get in that relationship. You just felt like it, right? And a lot of the times we get into things because we let our emotions lead instead of the scripture. So I was like, I'm not going to come here and not ask the questions that's on my heart, because that's the same thing I did in the Purpose to Profits. I asked every question that was on my heart, and now I'm sitting in front of you being able to ask every question that's on my heart. So I was like, if I had content creation on my heart, and I'm like, I need to know what he's doing, so I never make the mistakes of all these other people who want a quick, rich, get viral scheme and then never get viral after that last video. I don't want to be a one hit wonder.
Yeah.
I want to be a million hit wonder. Every time you see me, a hit, and that's what you do.
Yeah. That's
So
good,
yeah,
bro.
bro.
That's good.
Yes,
No,
sir.
man, you preaching the gospel right now, bro.
Come on.
It's we can't pray for wisdom, then don't use it.
Hey, man.
I mean, that's what I heard you just say. Like I can't. Only a
Come
fool.
on. You
Yeah,
in front of me, and I'm gonna be like, oh, well, let me not ask B because I want to experience it myself. What type of pride is that? When I could just ask you and then not experience that. Now I never have to worry about experiencing that again because the answer is sitting right in front of me. So I'm not gonna mistake that or be like, oh, let me go see how this side of content work or this. I don't even want to figure it out. There's some things, bro. I was reading Proverbs. Proverbs said, "Run from evil, run from it." So why would I run down there just to experience its evil? Too many people are in the business space trying to jump into the fire just to experience that the fire is hot. Just to be like, guys, the fire is hot. Don't go there. How about you, like you said, invest in yourself to never go there? So I'm in a place where the Lord is like, you better invest. You better ask him whatever you need to ask him, because there's 18 years of wisdom I do not know from you. Talk less than a 41 of just your life in general. So I'm gonna ask these questions. I'm like, what? I'm not gonna play no games. And I already told you I'm not here to waste your time. I already know you've been through years of time wasted, and you are not willing to go through another one. So I'm not gonna be I refuse to add to trauma. I want to heal
Oh
it.
my God.
Come on, bro. I refuse to add the trauma. I got that a while ago. Stop adding to people's trauma where now they got to go to God to be healed from. Like, God, see, this is why I don't open up to people because X, Y, and Z. I don't want to be that example anymore, bro. I don't. So that's why I'm here, fully being me, so I can go and be fully who God created me to be. I refuse to do that. I refuse to do that, bro.
So let me just show y'all something. So this is what we gonna do. So just so y'all know, by the way, right now y'all are watching us on YouTube, but we're actually on a platform called Riverside. This is where I host all my virtual podcasts. The beautiful thing about this is after we get off of here in this upload in Riverside, I'm gonna have both videos, both my individual video and praises. So when I say you are the content, praise just exuded that very thing over that last 6, 7 minutes that he was talking. So guess what I'm gonna do? Give him the link for his video. Then he could take his video and cut out moments to post on his page as content that he ain't got to go and redo. All he had to do was have the camera on while he was just being him. If you start looking at your life as every time you open your mouth, you're creating content, then all you got to do is be mindful enough to cut the camera on while you're doing it.
Man.
Y'all business owners, right? Okay. Cut the camera on while you talking to a client. Cut the camera on while you running a Zoom call. Cut the camera on while you doing a webinar. Cut the camera on while you out in the field signing documents with your notary, whatever it is. Cut the camera on. Just put cut the camera on in the chat.
Man.
Just cut the camera on. You just created short form content today just by that right there, just talking.
I'm just following a mentor, bro.
And so we can get into more ninja tricks because as we talking now, more of them are just coming back and coming back and
Yeah,
coming back. Because I don't really think about it a whole lot no more, bro. I'm
I
like,
know.
seriously, this is
I know.
therapeutic even for
You
me.
LeBron
You
in
know,
his 18th year, bro. You just hooping. You just going. You just hooping, bro. That's why I was like, I had to ask you. I had
yeah,
to ask you, bro. Because I'm we too many people in the business space. One thing that you exude 100%. You said you never gonna be a fraud, bro. There's too many people who start a business authentically, and then when it's time to present it, they turn into a fraud.
hmm
They start doing magic tricks when it's time to present the message. I don't want to do that at all. So I don't care what it like. Pride is out the window. I thought I knew something about content because I watched it. That don't mean you know how to do it.
mm.
I was a consumer. I wasn't a creator. People who feel like that's the problem. We consumers think we know how to create until you create it and it's not being consumed the way you like it. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know. When I first DM'd you in a message, I said, I don't know anything. I'm going to stand on that. I wasn't being a fraud then. I'm not going to be a fraud now. So yeah, we here, B. We here.
And that, folks, is the Q&A with BA and Praise every Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, as you can see, mark it on your calendars. Like, you don't want to miss these. You don't want to miss these. Share this with somebody else that could be of help too. And for the algorithm, like it, subscribe, comment, all those things. And if you got other questions that maybe we didn't think about or get to, put them in the comments and we'll make sure we get them answered next week. Yeah, this was one of them ones, bro.
Yes,
This
sir.
is one of them ones. I look forward to seeing your new content.
Me and you both, man. Me and you both.
All right, bro. I'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.